And I'm not going to lie, like when I heard intangibly rich first, it's like, okay, like, yeah, you're looking for good players, right? Like who isn't? This is the NFL. That's what you base your job off of. But then as I dug deeper and you look at like what intangible really means, here's what James Gladstone's talking about. He's not looking for players that maybe had a great combine, that are maybe a little raw, that you have to develop. Because when we talk about intangibly rich players, like, dude, this is his ethos. Like, this is his religion. This is what he believes in, right? He's not just saying it over and over again to just say something, to have fluff. He truly means this. And this is what they did in LA as well. Every player that they brought in from free agency, what do they all have in common? They all had production. Mm-hmm. Whether it was, I mean, once again, you want to talk about Clay Matthews back in the day? Like, he was that dude, right? Jalen Ramsey. Like, they brought in guys that had production, that the stats don't lie. Like, they're great players.
Right. It's on tape.
Maybe a little on the back nine of their career, except, Jalen Ramsey was still fresh, but like a guy like Clay Matthews.
Sure.
Maybe on the back nine of his career, but still had the stats to back it up. And then what happens? They pivot from getting those intangibly rich free agents,
right,
and they get them in the draft. Mm-hmm. Let's look at how the draft went last year for Los Angeles Rams. Who did they draft first? Jared Verse.
Production.
I mean, I can look up the combine and all that stuff, but more importantly, production. Mm-hmm. If we look up Jared Verse, it's loading here. All right, 6'4", 254, 33.5-inch arms, whatever the case may be. Where was he in production score, do you think? He was second. If you take it, once again, this is like the next-gen analytic things.
Right.
If you take his production score from his position, he was second. But don't even take all that, right? Just look at what the stats got to say. 12.5 tackles for loss. Started 13 games, had 9 sacks. That's production. That's intangibly rich. Well, then let's go to the next one.
Braden Fisk.
What was Braden Fisk's big thing out of college? He's a little undersized. He's athletic, but he's got some smaller hands, short arms, 31-inch arms. How's it going to work? Ran a 4.78, 9.9 on the broad jump, yada, yada, yada. Where was his production score? It was third at defensive tackle. And once again, if you look at the stats, what did he have? Well, I don't know what the stats were.
I mean, he had 9 tackles for loss and 6 sacks.
Okay.
That's
next
production.
pick. Maybe some people wanted to say, ooh, why did they really take him? Did they really need him? Who was the next pick? Do you know, Hamby?
Running back.
Correct.
Corum.
Blake Corum. Now, if you look at production score here, it's down the list a little bit. But who led the FBS in touchdowns in 2024?
I'm going to guess Blake Corum.
Blake Corum led the FBS in touchdowns in 2024. Once again, an intangibly rich guy. Did he have a great combine? 4 or 5 at a running back, not bad, right? 35-inch vertical, not too shabby. Size, 5'8", 205, whatever. Did he have the stats to back it up? Did he lead the country in touchdowns?
And a 2-year starter.
Yes, he did. Well, then let's go on to the next one if you don't believe me, if we want to keep on playing this game. Cameron Kitchens. You remember Cameron Kitchens?
Safety
out of Miami. You remember his whole thing or not?
I don't.
Dude had a horrible combine. Ran a 4.6 for safety, which, not the best. 35-inch vertical, 9.2 in the broad jump, yada, yada, yada. 23rd overall on athleticism score.
Out of just safeties.
Out of the safeties that were at the combine, he finished 23rd overall. Guess where his production score finished? Second.
Do I see a trend?
The prosecution rests, everybody. Intangibly rich means that you bring production on the field. James Gladstone isn't going to go after a guy who maybe had a fantastic combine, but then we're going to question, well, how come he didn't produce in college? Was he being used right? All these things. I'm going to be honest. I think if James Gladstone would have been here during the Trayvon Walker year in the draft, I'm not sure if he would have drafted Trayvon Walker. Because the product, and him, you know this firsthand.
No, yeah, he didn't. Yeah,
athletic freak.
Right.
But the production,
a little bit of a project.
It wasn't there. So then now let's go and fast forward. Let's look at these guys in terms of this up and coming draft of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
Mason Graham. Now, if you look at the stats, it's going to say, well, what do you have? 3.5 sacks this year? Mm-hmm. Where's Mason Graham on production score?
First.
Now, people saying Membo or whatever, Membo, a guy who had a really good combine, made himself some money, ran a 4.9. Where is Membo in terms of production score of offensive tackles?
No idea.
I'll let you look it up quick.
All right.
Because I can't remember.
And
production score.
Fourth.
So there's 3 offensive tackles who are more productive than him. Now, athleticism score is probably going to be what? First. But production score was 4th. Mm-hmm. The prosecution rests. This is what intangibly rich means, everybody. Okay? And I'll break it down to you in real digestive bits. Did the player have production in college? Whether it was affecting plays, whether it was sacks, tackles, touchdowns, whatever, receptions, whatever the case may be. Okay? Now, and once again, Coach Ripley in the thing saying 9.5 sacks in 3-year career equals 1 production. Production just isn't quarterback sacks. Production is causing chaos in the backfield. That's how these metrics work. Like when you get to the NFL and you're an edge rusher or you're a defensive tackle, yeah, we base your contract, we base how good you are off of quarterback sacks. But teams really know, GMs know that, hey, you know what? Even though the sack numbers aren't that high, is he still causing chaos in the backfield? And if you don't believe me, look at Dante Fowler. Dante Fowler is a lot of things here in Jacksonville. Was productive one of them in terms of quarterback sacks? No. He goes to LA and how does he do?
Pretty well.
Has over 10. Now, yes, playing with Aaron Donald and everything helps out, but my point is that they saw potential in production. They didn't just see the quarterback sack numbers of Dante Fowler and go, okay, this guy. No. They saw everything else as well. And that's what intangibly rich means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have all the quarterback sacks. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a great 40, but what it means is that you're going to have an effect on the game. And that's what intangibly rich is.